Hey everybody, what's going on? JJ here from Zealous Conversations, and today I have a very special guest with me. This is my wife, my lovely wife, who you've heard about on the podcast before, Fernanda. Say hello.
Hi, everyone.
And today we're going to be talking about college ministry, specifically the BSM that we both were involved in, but I'm going to be more like interviewing Fernanda. So this is episode 20, the impact, the influence of college ministry. So first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself, Fernanda, where you grew up, where you went to school, how long you've been in Carrizo and college and all that. So go ahead.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so I was born and raised in Mexico in a border city with Laredo in Texas, right? But so I didn't grow up Christian or not consistently. I guess I had influence from my grandma and one of my aunts, and I eventually started going to church maybe on my high school years, here and then, and I wasn't very involved. But I came to the U.S. when I was 16 to study, and I finished high school, but then I started college in Laredo. And that's when I met the college ministry and I got involved. And that's where I definitely gave my life to Jesus and everything changed for me. I graduated college just on 2022. So it's been maybe like more than a year and a half that I've been here in Carrizo.
Cool. Let's talk about college ministry. So you started college in 2018. And what did your life look like when you started college? What was your relationship with God like? What was your impression of the church or religion? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so when I started college, I didn't think much of the church. Like, it wasn't really part of my life at that point. I guess I believed in God. I was kind of, struggling, having my doubts. But the most important thing for me was just my career, myself, being successful, everything that the world had to offer to me, money and relationships and all those kind of things that were like, superficial. And so I didn't really have much thought into church or anything like that, unless I was having a hard time. Maybe I'll go and pray or something.
Yeah. Do you remember the first day that you met the college ministry?
Yeah, I think that was like on February of 2019.
So a year after, not even a year, several months, because we started in August, September, October, November, December, January. 6 months. 6 months into college, you met the ministry.
Yeah. And I think they're actually like barely creating the ministry. And I remember one week I was just having a hard time and I started praying to God, and I was just feeling really low and I was just asking him, if you care about me, just do something. And I remember just through some other friends, they had their friends and I met them and I got invited to one of their meetings, and that was the first time I heard like the gospel like in its fullest, like from beginning to end, and it felt like it just clicked.
So did you go to church before college?
Yeah, I had an experience with the church. I had gone in Mexico, and I mostly only went to like the youth events, not really Sunday mornings. It was more like the Friday evenings that I would go to. And so, yeah, I think, I don't know, either I missed the message a lot of times, or I don't know if the message was fully delivered. But I mean, back then, I don't know, maybe I was just a teenager. I was just distracted or something, but although I had faith, like I believe there's God and there's a relationship, I felt like as soon as I walked out of the church, I just forgot about it, you know.
So what kind of differences did you notice between your hometown church in Mexico versus the like college ministry church?
Well,
because they would gather and preach the word and do worship services. What kind of differences did you notice between the two?
Yeah, so when I would go to church in Mexico, I felt like kind of like an outsider, I guess. Like maybe I didn't know everyone as much. I did have my aunt, which was nice, but I didn't feel a connection. But once I started going to college ministry, I definitely felt like relationships were made and there was that connection. You know, they didn't want to just talk to me because they wanted another person in their ministry, but they wanted to know me, and I felt like that was like genuine from them.
So you felt a sense of belonging.
Yes.
In a smaller setting, and in I guess the age group was a lot more, like a lot closer. You were with people who were your same age, kind of grew up, or in the same stage of life as you, still trying to discover the things they want. So it was a little more relational than just going to church with a bunch of different people from all age groups, little kids to adults to, you know, the elderly, senior citizens. It felt more personal.
Yes.
It felt more, what's the word I'm thinking of? It felt more, it's purposeful, intentional. That's the word.
Yeah, intentional.
It felt more intentional.
Yes.
So you joined the BSM. You helped. I don't know. Did you help start up the ministry in 2019? You said that they were starting it. Were they already established and then you joined?
They were still establishing it. I think I was one of the first people they reached out and shared the gospel with, and I said, okay, I want to get baptized. Which I had gotten baptized before in Mexico, but I think my priorities weren't right. So I just felt, I need to get baptized because this is true change. Yeah. I think I understood what it meant to follow Jesus, and he definitely changed my heart. So I need to do it again. So I think I was one of the first ones to get baptized through the ministry. And from there, I just started serving in everything that I could and just continuing the ministry until I think fall of 2019 was when we actually became more like a real, well, under college is like an organization, right? But,
It became official.
Official, yes. That's a word I was looking.
So you said you started serving in the ministry. What kind of positions or roles did you serve in? What kind of things did you do?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I started helping with was with the worship.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you gave me the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you were part of the ministry yet.
I wasn't.
Yes, and you gave me a guitar, and I was learning to play. I had some like basic knowledge, but not fully. I couldn't really strum and keep a beat or whatever. But then I was practicing, and some of the members just kind of noticed that I was learning how to play, and they just asked me if I wanted help with the worship. So I said yeah, and I started doing that, and eventually I will do it, every week. Yeah. So I kind of, or basically became the worship leader at some point, and I was leading other people into worship, which I'm very grateful for them to trust me with that. I definitely messed up a couple of times, but it was still it didn't matter, because the thing is that it came from the heart and it was to worship God. So that felt really nice, just knowing that it wasn't about performance, but it was about my heart for God.
So you did the worship leading. What else did
Yes.
you do in the ministry?
So eventually, you know, one of the strong parts of the ministry is discipleship. And so I was being started disciple with one of the girls, and eventually I started discipling other girls. We also had like small Bible studies throughout the week besides the weekly meeting. So then I started leading a family group. That's how we call them. Even smaller groups, it's only girls. Oh, they also had like family groups for the men. And so eventually I started leading that, and then like my last year I was president of the organization, so I had a say on decisions, but it was amazing. And I think I did some mission trips as well with them.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you that you had because of the college ministry, you were presented with the opportunity to go on missions. I don't know how much you can share about that, but is there anything that you would like to share about, the mission trip opportunity that was presented to you?
Yeah, so I think on 2019 winter, I felt called to go and serve. I had New York in mind actually. But the BSM is connected to like state and then to the General Convention of Baptist, and they, often in the summer and the winter, they have different opportunities for missions. And when I looked at the booklet or, all the places they had listed to go serve, I felt called to go to East Asia. And so I went overseas. I went international. And I served for 2 weeks, and that was such an amazing experience because I felt so out of place, and I could definitely see God working in me, because that's when you know that only God can do those things, when you don't have anything to rely on the comfort that you come from, right? You go over there. And then on my junior year for summer, I served in Oregon here in the States, and I served for over 2 months, and that was also amazing just to see God working in that area where there's like people from all over the place. So, and just serving as well with music and discipling and BBS, Vacation Bible School for the kids. So, yeah, those are the mission trips that I went to, and I'm very, very grateful for those opportunities that I had. And just the ministry, the people there, just being so willing to help me fundraise for all of those events. That was definitely so amazing to see them just wanting me to go and share the gospel with others.
And that's that intentionality with the BSM. Like, they rejoice to see you go on missions and all that.
Yes.
I remember doing fundraisers for you and all of that stuff while we were in the ministry. So I want to ask you, what kind of tools and how did the BSM equip you to become a disciple maker, and how did it discipline you to be a follower of Christ? What kind of tools did you take with you afterwards? I guess now I want to talk about the impact of BSM on your life, being a graduate from the school. Now you're away from the BSM, you're away from college ministry. What did the BSM give you to take away from all of that? What did they give you that you still use today that has helped you in your walk with Christ, that's helped you with the Great Commission? So...
Yeah, you say Great Commission, and it. I think they were very good at explaining all of these Christian terms. I think they were able to explain, what is the Great Commission, the Great Commandments, and from that, just they helped me build the basics, the fundamentals, my faith, and I think they always went back to scripture. I really appreciated like a lot of the girls. I think Abby is one of the girls that had the most impact, and she would always she would teach, but she would always tell me go back and read the Bible, because I can tell you these things, but if you always have to go verify that they're correct, they're from the Bible. And I think just having scripture as your fundamental truth, like where you find everything, I think that's one of the tools that they taught me, how to go and read my Bible and use that. And I feel like to this day, I always try to, like, everything that I hear, or I want to just make sure and go back that is from the Bible, right? Whatever is preached, whatever is taught. And another thing they taught me was just to love like Jesus. They did it in their own lives, and I felt like it was so organic, like it wasn't forced. And from that, I remember that love for one another that now I want to implement, that I want to be like that, right? And that image of Christ on earth. And what's another thing? Just being excited of starting new things, new ministries, go out on missions. Like, I don't know, that was really cool to see, and that I can still use over here, which kind of going off the question, like now here in Carrizo, my vision to just start a new young adults ministry and bringing people on board and be passionate and have that fire for scripture, for the Lord, and reach our generation.
Yeah, I get you. They gave a lot of tools, a lot of things that you were able to take with you and learn to apply to your walk with God. And there's such need for, college ministry in the life of a young adult, someone who's fresh out of high school, like ourselves in 2018. We just graduated. I know that we have an audience of students who are either in high school or in college. And what would you say is the important, what is the importance of involving yourself in a college ministry? What would you say to them right now, those, students who are about to graduate high school and those who are in college, where there's new people, there's parties, there's influence everywhere from society, being inclusive. What would you say to that group?
Well, for those that are going to college, and personally, I think I went to a college that wasn't that as liberal as other ones that I've heard of, but you can definitely see and feel like the pull of the world, like it's pulling you, all of these ideas and these new terms and inclusion and everything is love. I think it's very tempting, even if you're a Christian from high school or if you're not, like it's very tempting to just kind of step into those ideologies and just make them your identity or something. And if I can just say to those from high school graduating, going into college, is involve yourself in a college ministry, involve yourself in a church. I don't think, the ministry is meant to replace church, but the church is called the body. We're the people, right? And being in that ministry and being in church, that's like what's gonna help you keep your faith, because you're so easily tempted to just like turn away and do all these things that are just gonna hurt you, because the only one who can fulfill your needs and your wants is God.
Yeah. There's a lot of college ministries out there. It doesn't have to be a BSM. FCAs and Christians on campus, and there's so many different types of Christian organizations. We speak about BSM because we were both part of that organization. But I guess the important thing is, get involved in your campus, get involved in your community. Find a group of Christians who are going to love you and who are going to seek after the Lord with you, who are going to want to disciple you and encourage you to be the best you that you can be for Christ. Mm-hmm. I like to think of it as the ministry would be like a little fire, and you're a stick. You pick up a stick from the fire, and the fire's on a stick. Mm-hmm. There's the huge fire, and then the little stick that's on fire, and that's you. You're a little torch, and your flame is gonna go out if you're just stuck by yourself. Eventually, it's gonna go out, and you need to reconnect. You need to come back to the big fire, to the church. Be rejuvenated with the word. Yeah. And you can do that with a ministry, with a college ministry. So, we've heard from your story, and even my own testimony is that the BSM helped me become disciplined and better in my, disciplined and better with my my walk with God. It's helped me understand more the ideas and the theology of Christ, and helping me understand the Bible more, helping me recommit my life to God. I got baptized again because the BSM taught me true change. Mm-hmm. When being impacted by Christ, and that is out there for you. We actually have a student right now who's in college who joined a college ministry, and I remember her saying, getting a little emotional. I remember her saying, "Wow, I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Like, they actually care about me, and they actually love me, and they call me to go to church, and they say, hey, come outside, we're going to church. Hey, come outside, we're gonna go and do this together." Yeah. And it's that intentionality. So, for the adults that are listening, if you have kids who are in college or in high school, urge them to go to ministry, urge them to involve themselves on campus with other Christians, because college is the place where a huge percentage of so-called Christians or churchgoers decide whether to keep the faith or abandon it. Mm-hmm. So to the adults who have kids and in that age group, think about talking to them about joining a ministry, whether it's still be in high school or in college. Talk to them about the importance of it. And for the adults who don't have any kids, or their kids are already grown-ups and have their own kids, just think about ways that you can, this is really about the importance of college ministry. And maybe, I know that there's Joe Luna over in Kingsville, who's an adult who's felt the call to be a director of a BSM on campus. And if you're an adult and you want to do that, that's available. You can still be an adult. You don't have to be enrolled in the school. You can be the director of a TAMU and be basically the head point, the head contact for that ministry on a campus. And it's such a beautiful thing. Joe Luna is doing it over there in Kingsville, and he's a great dude, and he's committed himself to reaching the next generation of college students. Yes. And as an adult, you can still do those things. So with that being said, is there anything else you would like to add before we close off?
I think you said it perfectly. You don't realize how much impact something like that can have if you look at our own lives. We are a product of college ministry, and I don't think we would be here if it wasn't because of it. And all of those people that were obedient to serve and to, step into those positions, like for us was Joel, like he was the director. But imagine he wasn't being obedient to that call, like then what would have happened with us, right? And because of that, we're fruit and we're product of that ministry. And now we get to serve at our church and disciple other kids. And now, God willing, reach more of our generation here. But I think other ways of helping, as well as like financial, sometimes it's kind of scary to just ask for money. But I mean, that's also a way to help. And of course, praying. Definitely praying for them, for those college ministries. It can be tough sometimes to just be in that environment and keep up the faith.
Yeah. There's an artist to close. Brennan Joseph, who's the lead singer of MBL Worship, said, "My testimony is a bunch of other people's yeses, a bunch of other people's obedience to the Lord, and their yeses are what got me here. Saying, yes, Lord, I'll go. Yes, Lord, I'll serve. Yes, Lord, I'll share. If it wasn't for Joelle's yes to be the director of the BSM at TEMU, if it wasn't for Robert's obedience to say, yes, Lord, I'll disciple. If it wasn't for, just so many other people saying yes and being faithful and obedient, I wouldn't be where I am. So I just think that's a beautiful testimony. Just a bunch of other people's obedience brought me to Christ. So how much, your yes could eventually bring someone else to Christ.
Amen.
So, with that being said, episode 20 of Zealous Conversations. We love talking about God. We love talking about what he's done in our lives. And hopefully this podcast has encouraged you and maybe taught you something about ministry that you didn't know or weren't even aware of. But that's the importance, the influence of college ministry. So with that, may the Lord bless you, keep you, and shine his face upon you. Have a good day.